Hello everybody, welcome to Talks with Adri. Today we're going to talk about the Toltec Legacy, one of my favorites, especially because this is still a living culture that gives us the know-how, the full chart of how to become supernatural. And more than this, to find our own purpose in order to transcend, to evolve. With this tradition, we don't have to look to other ascended masters or to believe that the things are impossible. The opposite. Everything is possible. We don't have to believe, we have to experience it by ourselves. Let's see it. What a Toltec should reach during his lifetime. A person that decides to be a Toltec warrior needs to first clean all the shadows and overcome the personal history. Which are my shadows? Those fears, those things, the guiltiness, the sadness, all these things that I believe are part of my personality. I need just to give them away, because the reality is not this body that I have. When I die, I'm going to leave here my system of beliefs. I'm going to leave here this physical body. I'm going to live here the way I think. I'm going to live here the way I feel. And I'm going to experience something different with my soul, let's say. So if I understand that all that, how I feel, how I see this world, my mentality, my culture, my education, is something temporary, I can really tap into the real truth. So the first thing that I have to do is leave aside all my shadows and overcome my personal history, and then I'm going to win to the black Tezcatlipoca. I'm going just to mention the names, but this is not important. What it is important is the concept. Tezcatlipoca is a personification of the powers of the perception. We could say like that. So the black Tezcatlipoca is, we can consider like a bad deity, the god that creates drama in my life. We could say it in that way, to be explained for other persons. But in reality, it is my own self that it is attached to certain things that cause suffering. Because if I am free of all that judgments and interpretations of the world, I should not suffer. So that is what it means to clean the shadows and overcome the personal history. Then we're going to do the second thing, and it is the renovation or the rebirth. And that's why I was explaining to you the Temazcal therapies that are rebirth therapies. Actually, here what we do is basically rebirth. Why? Why we have to rebirth? Because when you come to this world, you selected a family, you selected some lessons, you selected a culture, but that is all what we need to break in order to become something different. The process of rebirthing is growing in consciousness. It's something that you have to experience. It's something very difficult to explain, but it is when you can really perceive the world in a different way. And it is a way that it is much better than the previous one. I can tell you by my personal experience, it is a way that you are not going to care too much about the other things or the rest. It is a way of being more able to flow with the world, with the life. And this is what it's called the red Tezcatlipoca. Why red? Because red, when you are in the mother's womb, the first color that you see is red. When you see the light through her womb, through her skin, you see red. So that it is why it is going to be the rebirth process, the renovation. The third thing that you have to do after you overcome your shadows and after you are a new person is to maintain that change. Because it's very easy that you go back to be the same person that suffers, the same person that gets engaged with the drama, the same person that has rancor for others, the same person that gossips about others. That is very easy. So you have to maintain this change. And to maintain this change, we're going to talk about the blue Tezcatlipoca or Huitzilopochtli, which is with a lot of tenacity, with a lot of discipline, strengthening your body. And that's why we're going to talk about practicing physical condition with your body. Your body needs to be ready to manage all the energy. Also your mind, and how we train the mind with lack of thoughts, with mindfulness, or with meditation, basically, which is emptying the mind and be at the present moment. So to maintain the change, you have to continue training your physical body, continue managing your emotions, and training your mind. Then learn how to die. To be able to die with grace and in consciousness, you have to beat the duality and to overcome your own infraworlds. How you do this? In order to learn how to die, you have to be kind. In other words, this is opening your heart. Discover that there is a unity consciousness, and that's why I don't want to harm anything. I'm going to treat with full respect everything that I see, because everything that I see, it is alive, even though if it is a material thing. But is my intent behind whatever I create, what it counts in this world of energy. Everything, for example, it is very different. If I plant soya to sell a lot of soya beans and a lot of soya milk, and I'm going to destroy the Amazon and cut all the trees in order to extend my crops of soya, it's completely different that intention of planting my own plant, taking care of it, because I know that later she's going to also give me back a lot of nutrients, a lot of options. With the respect that I treat all creatures and beings is what I'm going to receive back. So the intent, the initial intent, just the thought behind every action is what it is going to count in order to have a good process of dying. So dying requires an open heart, kindness, compassion towards everything. And if you follow this path, then you can reach the Quetzalcoatl's path, which I already explained, which is that enlightenment, and reaching the white Tezcatlipoca, which is basically live your body through the crown and not losing your memory, to be able to take with you all the learnings, all the processes, because you already changed all the karma into dharma for yourself. So this is what a Toltec should do during his life. This is the process. There are two concepts very important that leave us the Toltecs, the Toltec tradition, the Tonal and the Nahual. And I was explaining this at the beginning. The Tonal is the day of the light, is represented by the sun. It is all what you can see with the light. If we are all together in a room, let's say, and the light comes through the window or through the door, we are going to create a collective reality with all what we see or what we perceive with our five senses, what we can touch, what we can smell, what we can see. That is the Tonal, the reality that we can perceive during the day. But among the whole reality, the Tonal is only 1%. It is really little of all what we can see, of all what our perception can really reach. It's very little. That's why the Toltecs are always going to say, never lose time. Never lose time, meanwhile you are awake, and use also your time while you are asleep, and use also your time when you are dying. Because every moment is very important in order to evolve, in order to reach to the blossoming. They are going to call the process of enlightenment blossoming. What is the Nahual? The Nahual is the rest. It is what it is not the Tonal. It is that 99% that we don't see. In energy terms, the clairvoyants are going to say that when we are awake, we are going to have a yellow halo, a yellow light around our head, and that represents the energy of the Tonal. And during the day, the energy of the Nahual is around our belly, our navel. When we go to sleep, the energy of the navel comes up to the head, and it is like bluish or like smoky, let's say, and the yellow comes down to the navel. In the moment in which you are aware in the both states, that you are aware while you're awake and that you are aware while you are asleep, which is lucid dreaming, in that moment your energy integrates. And that is what it is called the Neuralism. The Neuralism is when you are able to consciously integrate the two aspects. The aspects of your tonal and the aspects of your Nawa. The aspects of your consciously daily perceptions with your five senses and the concepts that you can include into your reality through intuition and through dreams. So there is more in the reality, but I just can perceive 1% during the day. How can I amplify my perception? By training myself into the Neuralism. The Nawal is ruled by the moon, in the same way that the tonal is ruled by the light and by the sun, the light that gives me the colors. The moon is going to alter my emotions, so that they are going to talk about a concept that it is called to break the imprisonment of the moon, which means I break that thing, external things that controls my emotions, and I become the master of my own emotions. So I decide what to feel. And when I decide what to feel, I mean I decide which vibration I'm going to have in my body. And when I decide which vibration I'm going to have in my body, I decide what is the reality that I want to live. What are the things that I'm going to integrate in my body? Because the similar vibrations attract each other in the same way that the opposite ones attract each other, because they are the complement. So in which vibration, which is my frequency, is what I'm going to decide in order to create my reality. So you are going to consciously be the master of your destiny. To become an Awal, the first thing again is change your perception. Don't think that the world is against you. Think that the world is helping you, is there to serve you. Everything that you see is a message from the spirit, from the divine to you. So they were going to think that a plant is there for a reason, that a bird is there for a reason, and it's going to bring you a message. The second thing is that you have to be very cultured. Study. Study what? The philosophy, the precepts. Because these, for example, 4 agreements or 5 agreements, if you study them and if you put them into practice, you are going to have enough weapons for not allow the fake reality to control you. That's why you have to study, you have to be cultured. Recapitulate. What is to recapitulate? Recapitulate is to analyze what you have done. So in the morning, you recapitulate your dreams. What am I dreaming? To see what is your level of consciousness. If your dreams are nightmares, that means that there are things that you need to change in your life. Or at night, recapitulate means that you remember what you did during the day and you say consciously, I would like to change these things. I could improve these things. Or I did very well in certain things, so I am evolving. Is to understand the process of learning, of evolution that you are living during your life. Then awareness. Awareness all the time. Stalking is how they call it. What am I thinking? What am I thinking is positive or negative? What I'm thinking is helping for my evolution or is not helping me right now? Is helping my emotions or is not helping me? So be aware of what it is inside you, thoughts, feelings, and what it is outside of you. Because remember that all the time, this fake reality, this dream is telling you things. That's why they felt so connected with everything. This person that I meet here is for a reason. Why am I crossing this person's path? That person is a master for me. What is this person going to teach me? How this situation is going to affect my life. So being complete awareness, trying to open your eyes and your intuition to really catch the meanings, the purpose, the path that life shows you without expectations, without attachments. Just go by the flow with awareness. And finally, meditation. Meditation is very important. It's not only the practice of mindfulness or of breathing techniques. Meditation is the lack of thoughts. Be able to be in moments without anything in the head. So you can really tap into this now or into this different reality. They can do it through making mandalas, or by chanting mantras, or by only being stillness, or by contemplating nature. Contemplating nature was one of the most used meditation ways of the Toltecs. So there are many ways of doing it, but what it is important is to reach this emptiness in the mind that allows you to really see in a different way the world. The Toltec Legacy is also going to talk about the conception or the cosmogony of the world. For them, the process of enlightenment is a flower that the pistils are going to be considered the 13 heavens, and the trunk is going to be considered the infraworld. And this flower has 4 petals, and it is very similar to the Christian cosmogony of the cross, like the 4 cardinal points, and that you need to integrate the 4 elements in order to be balanced at the center. Also similar to the Chinese 5 elements, because if we cut the flower horizontally, we are going to find in the west, which represents the element of earth, of Mother Earth, all that has to do with the physical body, all what you see in the material world. So if you have problems of lacking of something, then you have to feed this aspect of your life, earth. In the other side, we have the east. The east is going to be represented by the fire, by the sun, of an opportunity of every day. And it's going to be represented by your inner fire, which is the passion that you use, the motivation that you have to do things in your life, to take actions, to make changes. You need to feel this passion. I want to do this because I just feel that I want to do it. If you lack of this, it means that you're lacking of fire. So you need to work with this element. If you face the north, for example, it's going to be the element of air. Air is the mind, also considered as the thought. And the air is the messenger, So there are things that I am not getting into ideas. I am not receiving this air, the sound that reaches me. I have blockages in my mind, in my mental aspect. So you are going to need to work with the element of air. And finally, we have the element of the south of water. Water is going to be all the emotions. And if we have balanced this aspect, we are going to be able, if we have balanced all the aspects, we can create a beautiful reality. So the idea is to be in the center, learning from ourselves and live in beauty and in harmony. Create beautiful things, blissful things. So that is how we can manage all the elements in our lives in order to be centered. So every instant is a co-creation of these elements, and we cannot go to one or to the other. We have to be in centered. And if we cut this flower vertically, we're going to find the same process of the tree that we just mentioned before in another episode about the Mayan tree, which is the concept of the infraworlds, which is going to the subconscious states, which are usually negative things, are the dramas, are these things that we have profound wounds, things that every time that somebody touches us, we react, things that happen in our childhood, things that happen in our teenagers, things that have to do with sexuality, with all the lower chakras that stay there and doesn't allow us to perceive the cosmic energy that comes from the heart and up. In the center, we're going to have the place where we live, which is Mother Earth, in the center, which is a reality between the two worlds, a reality between the subconscious and the supraconscious. So it is the conscious world, the only moment, the present moment, where I can take a decision, where I can act, where I can change. I cannot work in the supraconsciousness because it is inaltered. Nobody can modify that. And in the subconscious, many things had happened when, in order to heal them, I have to bring them to conscious. So this Mother Earth is the place, the opportunity for us to bring into conscious in order to heal many things and to just release all these attachments and all these karmic things that we have in order to move and evolve lighter, being more energy, and tap more into the supraconsciousness, which is going to be represented by the heavens that extend the tree, all the leaves to heaven. So this is the cosmogony, how they consider the world. And if you are a flower and this flower blossoms because you are a good person, because you are working from your heart, living from your heart, and with your actions you serve the world, you help the world, the other beings also to evolve, that means that you reach the blossoming dream. In Spanish, el sueño florido, which means your enlightenment process. What I like of this is that everybody has a different dream. Everybody has a different purpose. You don't have to compete with anybody. There is not only one way of doing it. What you have to do is to accept and to recognize in everybody the way of doing it. So they say, there are 4 moments in your life in which you can evolve. And it is going to be, this is in the center of the Aztec calendar. These one, they represent the 4 elements, they represent the 4 petals, the 4 forces or the 4 cardinal points, as well as the 4 states of humans, which are to be awake, to be asleep, to be dreaming, or to be deaf. In these 4 moments of your life, you can change, you can transcend, you can evolve. So we already explained how to evolve in the tonal, which is with the 4 agreements. We didn't explain how to evolve in the lucid dreaming, but if you're interested, I have a full workshop on that. We explained that while you're sleeping, you cannot evolve because that's the only moment in which you are not advancing, and then we have the moment of dying. Just to end up with the cosmogony of the Toltecs, I want to read this, which says, the rhythm of the 4 movements create a 5th element, and it is the eternal dance of the transformation, the music that rules all the universe, the creation of every instant. This is written in The Awakening of the Sixth Sun by Sergio Magaña, and here you can see in this drawing the cut that we do horizontal of the elements, how when you go down vertically to the infraworlds or up the 13 heavens of the pyramids, and then all the influence of the cosmos, of Venus, the Pleiades, the Ascended Masters, like all this other reality, all these other worlds that there are there in order to also understand and integrate in this lifetime. And let's talk about how to die. So for the Toltecs, because this is important in order to close the cycle, the same as the Egyptian legacy. There is a cycle of birth and rebirth for the Toltecs as well. But they are going to believe in the opportunity of this lifetime. The idea of them is not that you come and repeat the samsara wheel. So if you prepare yourself to die, it's because you lived from your heart. Remember, that is the core value of the Toltec legacy. Live in the unity consciousness. Live with the heart chakra open. Live with unconditional love and compassion. So if you live in a kind way, with compassion with others, you prepare yourself to die. And you can die through the liver, which is the way that the unconscious people die. The people that are attached to the drama, the people that think that the life happens to them instead of taking responsibility of their creation, the people that are in the gossips that vibrate low, that tell lies, that are in prison of their emotionality and all this, they are going to die through the liver. And for them, they have to repeat their life here. They have to break that imprisonment of the moon, that cage of these emotions, and they have to come back in order to evolve, because they didn't evolve in that lifetime. So it was a time that was wasted. The second way of dying is dying through the heart, which it means that you prepare yourself to die because you live a life of kindness and compassion. And then it is open in the middle of this statue that you find here, that it is called Coatlicue, and it is in the original, it is in the Museum of Mexico City, in the Archaeological Museum. And it represented the goddess of death and life. Life, because when you die, you are really entering into a new facet of your life. So your spirit is going to leave your body through the heart, in a shape of a butterfly, and then or a shape of a hummingbird, and you're going to reach the sun and understand the perception of the sun. Increase your perception, and the sun means the solar system. So let's say that you are in a way understanding everything that was happening here from your tiny perspective of Mother Earth. Let's say that the solar system is your body, and if I have the possibility of dying from my heart, and I was a little tiny cell in my body when I was living in Mother Earth, when I go to the sun and see the totality, that I was a body, that I had to do, that this little cell in my hand had to do with my eyes, with my tongue, with my circulatory system, with my endocrine system, with my nervous system, that you understand that you are part of a whole and not a separate entity. You really understand, have a wider perspective of everything. So it means evolution, awareness. That is to die from the heart. And the ascended masters, or the avatars also called, are the ones who are able to die and leave the spirit through the crown. For this, you have to clean all your energetic centers, and you have to master how to guide your energy up. So it is an additional process, not only living in compassion with everything, but also be the master of your destiny. Say, I am going to use my energy in this way. I'm going to create with this, and it requires a lot of discipline. And therefore, I'm going to be able to live my body in this way. And many have done it, not just one or two. Obviously, it requires, this is also only for special persons, but when you die through the crown, you become an ascended master, so you don't lose your memory. You can go everywhere in the universe, wherever you want to go, knowing what you lived, because you already changed your karma into dharma. So I was explaining that in order to die through the crown is the way that you can really reach this higher state of consciousness. A consciousness that really makes this shift in your evolution, and that you are going to be able to clean all your karma into dharma. So you are going to have a halo of light, of experience, of wisdom with you, and you are going to be able to serve others in other galaxies, in other worlds, in many different ways.